All right. Hello, everyone. So today I'm just going to run through the notes for 5.4, the dynamics of population growth. Um, I know, obviously, I know you guys can read. I'm just going to try to kind of um, explain some of the definitions and stuff and the ideas and sort of walk you through maybe some of the ideas that are on here as well. Okay. So uh, you've got the definition of demography, the field of collecting, compiling, and presenting information about populations. Uh, you have a population profile, a bar graph showing the number or proportion of people, males and females separately, at each age for a given population. So your book actually has some, excuse me, it has some examples of population profiles. So this is an example of a population profile. Okay, so you can see like here's the age ranges, right? 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, and then you got males going to the left of the center line, females going to the right, and then just how many are at each thing. So like here, um, from 0 to 4, you're talking about just under 1.5 million, so probably like 1.4 million maybe, of this population. Okay. So you can see where you've got the largest percentages. Okay, so they've got 1.4 here for that's the males. I'm sorry, 1.4 be the males. The females, it looks like about 1.3. So you'd add them together to get the total. If you're doing that, you'd end up with somewhere around 2 point. I don't know, what is that, like 2.7 or so million probably, individuals in the zero to 4 range. Okay, so uh, using this, you can see where the largest percentage of your population are age-wise, like what groups. So this was for Italy in 2005. You can see that the largest percentage of their populations are in these age ranges here of like 35, um, essentially, basically 30 to 45, really, are where these three bars are for males and females, are their biggest percentage of their population. Um, and so you can see that, like, also you can see the biggest percentage of their population uh, is middle aged. Okay, so um, you've got you've got population projections for two different types of countries. So these are population projections for developed countries. Hold on, so we can see it a little better. Okay. Um, so a developed country, so like United States is a developed country. Most of your high and um, upper middle categories would probably fall into this category as typically as developed countries. All right. So the population profiles look sort of like this, where typically they've got a larger population sort of in the middle. Okay. Now, there's also something called a graying population. A graying population is when the percentage of the population that is elderly, 60 and over, is increasing. So, in other words, a larger and larger percentage of your population is getting older as a percentage of your population, not total number of people. I mean, number of people gives you the percentage, but so like if you look at this projection for Italy as a developed country, you can see that where's the largest percentage of their population? Well, in 2005, it was, like I said, between 30 and 45, right? Well, in 2025, it's projected that the largest percentage of their population will be between, looks like around 50 to 65, which would basically be these people getting 20 years older. Okay, so what that means is it's not always because, like, it doesn't always work that way. Like, this is the largest portion. Sometimes you can get larger portions. Like, percentages keep coming, going up. But basically, what this means is this is a graying population. A larger percentage of their population is getting in the elderly, the 65 plus range. Okay, this is the population profile for a graying population. It'll look kind of like an upside down triangle. Is it an inverted triangle? It kind of gets to that point. Okay, but it's got like a developed country typically has the largest percentage in the mid range, that middle age there. Okay, all right. So let's look at a population profile for developing country. So these are countries that are typically have lower economics, like the low or middle low, or lower middle. And essentially, these are ones that have really high population growth rates. So if you look again, so this one was Iraq, which was considered a developing country back in 2005. I'm assuming it probably would still. So you can see, look at their population projection. Where's the largest percentage of their population? Well, it's super young, infants and young children. That's the biggest. So their population is growing rapidly. So you get this sort of like a triangle type shape to it. Okay, and you can see that in a population that has a high growth rate, see what happens here is you get this triangle that's inverted, but then it kind of slows down. Like the growth rate's not increasing, the growth rate is slowing some, but you can still see the largest percentage of their population is very young still. So this would be considered a developing country. Okay, now if you had a population profile for a developed country or a country that has essentially like a very low growth rate, it's like pretty stable. You can see, so they're comparing projections. So a developed country, I'm sorry, let me flip these here. This is a developed country. They didn't make it very wide, but the idea is essentially that it's almost kind of like a column, like it doesn't go out or in a lot. It just sort of stays pretty even. You're going to have most people still in your middle age, and you're going to have like this, and then obviously as it gets older, it's going to narrow just because as people die off as they get older. But it's going to be pretty straight up and down for the most part, kind of linear like that. Whereas a developing country is going to have that triangle shape, a lot of people at the base, and then it's going to kind of balloon as the years go on. So you can see in like 50 years, the projection for a developing country is there's going to have a lot of people, but their population growth rate is going to slow. It's not going to continue that triangle. It can't continue that forever. Okay. All right. So, all right. So then in the notes, we've got some generic definitions for crude birth rate and crude death rate. Number of births per thousand per year, crude death rate, number of deaths per thousand. These are some older, I think these stats are a couple of years old. I think the last time I updated them was maybe, I want to say like 2017 or 2018, but it's just what we're going to go with for now. So if you look something up and you see it's a little different, these might have changed some, but just to keep things easy, I'm going to keep this the same for now. Okay. So countries with the highest birth rate, Niger and Mali. Countries with the lowest birth rate, Monaco and Japan. So you can see Niger and Mali are they're very poor, low income areas. Typically, those have high crude birth rates. Okay, Monaco, one of the wealthiest countries. Japan, a very developed country, low birth rates typically. Okay, crude death rates, the number of deaths per thousand. Okay, you're going to see something similar here. Highest crude death rate per thousand per year, Sierra Leone, Ukraine. Okay, areas that are still relatively low. Um, Obviously, that's going to be impacted by things such as conflict and war too, year to year. Overall average rates over a 5-10 year period, maybe not, but year to year that will impact it. Countries with the lowest death rate, again, as you'd expect, developed countries with high income, Arab Emirates and Qatar. Okay. All right. How is population change calculated? Not not necessarily the population growth, although that's in a way it sort of is population growth. It's the birth rate minus the death rate. That's the overall population change per 1,000 per year. And then if you want it as a percentage change, your you take your population change per 1,000, divide it by 10, and that would give you the percent change per year. All right. Why should we care about population demographics? Like, what's the value in some of these projection profiles and stuff like that? Okay, well, I have some reasons listed here that I will talk through with you a little bit. Um, so, uh, if a country has a population where a large percentage of the population is getting older, a graying population, then it is beneficial to consider the care and services that those people will need as they enter into their senior years, such as healthcare, senior living facilities, stuff like that. In the United States, we're not necessarily a graying population, but we do have certain things like, the baby boomer generation, the large population growth during the baby boom. Um, uh, so we are getting a much larger percentage of our population, or um, a larger number of people, I guess I should say, growing older. So a larger percentage of our population is graying. So we are graying a little, um, mainly because we're just, though that group, that big sort of population explosion in the United States is getting older. So um, it's kind of like this sort of for us. Like we're getting into this point here where our I don't know if we don't have a huge population growth, but some of these are living longer and getting older, getting into that, getting a higher percentage population in those older areas. Um, and so we as the United States have those things to consider. Social Security, part of retirement plans. People are living longer. Is that going to be enough for people to live long? Is it going to strain our healthcare system? Is it going to strain our elder care system? It's uh, if you've ever had any experience with maybe grandparents or great grandparents or something in nursing homes, those are really expensive, and it can be hard to find good ones, and sometimes you have to be on a waiting list to get into some of those facilities. And it's going to just get worse because there's going to be more and more. It's going to be a big need for that kind of thing. So knowing that could help our or other countries prepare ahead of time to try to um, mitigate some of the problems that might come with that. Okay. All right. So another reason, the opposite way, sort of. If a country has a population where a large percentage of the population is very young, in other words, they have current rapid population growth, then they need to consider what happens when those people become adults and will need jobs in order to become productive members of the society. Uh, this was happening um, not just because of rapid population growth, but it was happening over in Europe, and I can't remember exactly where, if it was like Spain or Italy or something. Like a few years back, they were having a big problem where um, they weren't getting the turnover, and they were having a lot of young people come out of high school and college, and there weren't jobs because I don't know if it's because of economic downturn or population growth or both, but there just weren't jobs available for them. Okay, that puts a big strain on your economy because people don't stop getting older, and you don't stop growing up and coming through. So if you've got rapid population growth and a large population of young people, as those people become older and they're going to need to have jobs, and as a society you need to have jobs for them, or else you have major problems, right? That people can't find jobs, and they're going to turn to other means to survive. And so you see this not in just developed countries, but in low income countries. We talked about that too. People doing illegal things for income, emigrating, moving out, all that kind of stuff. If there's not enough jobs. So having an idea of your population demographics can, again, as a country, hopefully help you prepare for things like that. If a country has a large number of low income members, then it can put a strain on the country, both economically and socially. So this one also links to the responses to rapid population growth in low income sustainable farming areas that we were talking about before, all those like things I just mentioned, the doing legal things for income, all that kind of stuff. So it kind of is linked to the one before that a little bit, but just if it's low income. So it's important to know that. And then the last one I have on here, and there's others, these are just some of the ones that I've thought of over the years and kind of concentrated on, but there's definitely can be others that you might come up with. The demographic information for a country will help identify areas of need within the society in general. This helps a country develop social programs that allow the country to function better in general, overall. So, this is everything from like welfare programs to food stamp programs to, social security programs to retirement programs and job, like 401k plans, pension plans, to all these kind of things, to healthcare. All of this stuff is really determined off of your population needs, and so demographics plays a large part of this. Okay, all right. Hopefully that will help you with the homework. The homework is the page 140, numbers 5, 6, and 7. Negative and positive impacts of affluence. That is actually from the old notes, from the notes we went over before, the 5.3 stuff. That's in, just so you know, hold on. That's on page 128. Page 128, the affluence information at the bottom here, in 129. Okay. So you should have at least 2 for each of those. What information is given by a population profile? So we talked about that. How is it prevented, the graph-wise? And then how do the population profiles and fertility rates of developed countries differ from those in developing? Okay, that again is in the fertility at page 138. Okay, birth rates and crude death rates and information there, 137, that kind of stuff. All right, so hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. As always, if you guys have questions, let me know, message me, text me, or message me. Okay, good luck.